Okay, our last reader is Noah Eli Gordon. I'm not sure if I'm going to make it through this whole bio because he's pretty much accomplished everything. But there's books for sale on one of those tables, I think. So his most recent book is The Word Kingdom in the Word Kingdom, published by Brooklyn Arts Press in early 2015. Other recent titles include The Year of the Rooster, The Source, Novel Pictorial Noise, which was selected by John Ashbery for the National Poetry Series, and subsequently chosen for the San Francisco State Poetry Book Award. An advocate of small press culture, he co-founded Letter Machine Editions, penned a column for 5 years on chapbooks for Rain Taxi, review of books, Rand, Brand Case, Press, done everything else. Welcome, Noah.
The problem. He has, in the middle of an important phone call, an overwhelming need to urinate and fills the toilet bowl with paper towels in order to dampen the sound. It's autobiographical. This is the opposite of finding your voice. Played in reverse, it resembles a postcard of a beautiful sunset stuffed haphazardly into the mailbox. The problem is, it's the wrong mailbox. What do I know? I was going to read your new book tonight, going to start on the balcony where I go to smoke, standing next to a square of light let out by the little window there, which gives enough to see if all the apartment lights are on, since I still haven't changed the bulb above the porch. A waste, I know. I was going to read, but the snow was too strong. It blew right into the first few pages. So I closed the book and smoked with my back to the wind, which felt deliberate and defiant at the same time. I mean the act, not the weather. Although I know either way works, really. 10 years ago, I wrote gushing self-pity next to a poem in one of your books. I'm sorry. 10 years ago, I thought I knew everything about what poems should do. Now, I know very little, and that it's better this way, standing here in the dark. Why I am not an academic. There's the sun, and there, the culture of sun. The first word spoken in its shadow was a verb. The first word spoken in the shadow of its shadow, an adjective. One dances to decorous music. The other hardly moves at all. A theory of the novel. Something miraculous springs from the next sentence, but already you'd skimmed to the end. A boy's attention corralled in sand, pebbles, and the sun's slow clockwork fails to take in the wreckage. The years from now, he'll describe it perfectly. So will you. Best American experimental poetry. 1. Aristotle divided pleasure into two kinds: necessary physical pleasures and those that are good and pleasant, that we desire but don't need. 2. At 20, I couldn't believe the vodka they had at this party was a top-notch brand, that they were just giving it away. The best thing I then tasted until someone came ever so carefully to refill the fancy bottles with cheap stuff. 3, if pressed, my 19-month-old daughter can count to 3, but after 2, she prefers to start over. So maybe 5 or 6 years ago, I was at a friend's house, poets Julie Carr and Tim Roberts. They have 3 children, 3 really wonderful children. And at the time, Ben, their son, was, I think, 11, and their daughter Alice was 7. And somebody had drawn, one of the family members had drawn a picture of a door, and they wrote nowhere, and these 2 kids, little kids, having this existential argument about whether or not nowhere is a place that one could actually go to. And I don't know, I was amazed and in awe. And so this is the title poem of this new book, which is for them and their children, called The Word Kingdom in the Word Kingdom. An 11-year-old's inability to find Eden on a map returns the word kingdom to the word kingdom, where the end of history, with its tail in its mouth, talks back to St. Augustine in antiquated sign language. The sign for a second river, insistence, another second river. Sign for a concrete universal byproduct, for virtual models of interesting parts of the earth. Sign for endangered species, for endemic spectacles. Sign for the question, and then who went down to the ship? And who stood in the bluest spot of a green field in a white shirt and whittled futility at passing airplanes? A bad gambler in the abstract makes a good Samaritan imprisoned in her own activity. Now, the 7-year-old tells her brother the door he's labeled nowhere can't be there. The speaker at the computer isn't silent, it's silence. In the word kingdom, the sad human you, theoretical as money, pushes its toy train in saintly straight lines. Pray for an arc full of adverbs dissolving midair, and ongoing grammar's perennial it leaves tracks. They're yours, your tracks, your causality, your tautological cabin in the woods, hermetically aflame with the coldest of fires. The best way to describe a forest is to run from it. The best arrows are aimless, egolessly yielding to air, bent into age, broken on badges. Eject multitudes, reject pilots, jettison the cargo bay. There, persistent soliloquy of a present inexorably diffuse. Fox in the sewer, face in wood grain, a fish with a name. A crow's chorus of me, 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 replacing the word kingdom in the word kingdom with ants and their us, makes noise in the new realism. Picture a story and point once upon again this time. Tell me the once upon a time again picture of a story pointing to the universe, halfway between, or picture a story and point. The universe is everywhere authoritatively. Each that, the baby names, little embraced idea, our resplendent lacuna grown larger, as though nodding in utter agreement utters bereavement. Every child falls down a well, father in tow, same well, same stories in difference, same day moon in winter sun above an island of garbage. Every desire aiming in the same direction, every direction aimless, every aim directionless, Odysseus to olive oil and Popeye to Penelope, dust to plastic and love's digital reenactment. If I think of rain, I think of rain, but that doesn't mean it does. That word kingdom wants us to write a room full of it, umbilically delinquent. First, there was a picture without its spectator, then the world bursting with spring, curbstone, gravestone, a cradle's throne. First there were pigeons, then the sky fell. Now for $1, they'll take your picture on this pony, or better, for $5, you can ride. Loving names and their lovely arrogance mimicked in swaddling clothes. In the word kingdom can't straddle its horse. It doesn't have one. There are no animals there. No currycombs, stirrups, saddles, no bridles or yokes, no A for antelope, O for oxen, refusing to be aimed. Wake to the word kingdom, sawing its legs to fit the iron bed. Then look at how light hits this desk perfectly and leave it there. It's the only map to Eden, which is only a map. Tissue paper to body tissue, issuing a bracelet for the wrist, as a house for the guest, is a dead bee in the light bulb, dumb as any. Best American Experimental Poetry. In last season's dust burning off, you can't smell the oily fingerprints of whomever positioned the spotlight, but you can, amazingly, see the power cord plugged only into itself. I was working with one of my grad students, and he had this great line in one of his poems, luggage arrives in the world where it waits. I told him, his name's Orrin Silverman, I said, Orrin, I love this line, I'm stealing it. So, did. I give him credit, of course. A tiny type in the back of the book. Watch out. Luggage arrives in the world where it waits, for Orrin Silverman. Just as 2 lines arrive in the poem as a couplet, so 2 policemen arrive at the edge of the world, one in front of the other, but from a different angle, simply parallel, proving authority's only the arrival of an imposition, imposing its rule on whomever allows the flower to wilt in the tiny world of its water glass. What is the image of happiness, if not when alarms ring out in the world and we ignore them? All the police aimlessly wandering through our poems, the sad pride of all the police aimlessly wandering. How wonderful to sit here and hum, purposefully alive with the fires of boredom. I guess in a way I sort of stole something from John Wiener's Cadence and Hotel Bentley poems and that, too. If you don't know that book, it's one of the greatest books of the last 100 years, I think. You should read it. A new kind of poem for Arta Collins. There is no ocean in your ear to it. What there is this muffin, left a long time on the granite countertop. It is a kind of decision. You decide to write a new poem, invent a better equipped kitchen, stainless steel appliances, a refrigerator whose refusal to hum is both frightening and reconciliatory. It gets quieter. It gets sort of orange. You think of the word lavender. You have no choice but to. There it is, just floating direly in front of your face. How many types of ambiguity can a muffin conjure up? Did you really ask yourself this? Between the questions, as between 2 towering beach